Our next story is about a war that, even after 2 years of intense fighting, is showing no signs of abating. Will it conflagrate into a World War III? As of now, it looks like things are heading in that direction. And why are we saying that today? Because after months of speculation, it has been confirmed that North Korea is indeed sending troops to Russia. Does this open a new front in the Ukraine war? Will the confirmation of this military partnership change the course of the conflict? Will it escalate tensions between Russia and Ukraine's Western allies? Remember, some European leaders in the past have suggested putting boots on the ground. So will NATO countries and other US allies like South Korea join the war is the question. Now, we will explore that in just a bit, but first, let's just get you up to speed with what we know as of now. Here's what's going on. South Korea, NATO, and the United States claim that thousands of North Korean troops are training in Russia. Listen to this.
We assess that between early to mid-October, North Korea moved at least 3,000 soldiers into eastern Russia. We assess that these soldiers traveled by ship from the Wonsan area in North Korea to Vladivostok, Russia. These soldiers then traveled onward to multiple Russian military training sites in eastern Russia, where they are currently undergoing training. We do not yet know whether these soldiers will enter into combat alongside the Russian military, but this is certainly a highly concerning probability.
Now, this is a claim that both Moscow and Pyongyang have denied, by the way. In fact, the Kremlin called reports on North Korean troop deployment to Russia contradictory information.
По-прежнему предпочитаем заявлять очень ответственную позицию в плане непридания публичности содержания разговоров, которые ведутся на высшем уровне. К нашему сожалению, целый ряд мировых лидеров такой позиции не придерживаются и такую информационную гигиену в данном случае не соблюдают. Но это на их совести. Сейчас звучит очень много.
But South Korea's spy agency has said that Russia is using North Korean troops as quote-unquote cannon fodder for its war in Ukraine. On Thursday, Seoul slammed the deployment and warned that it will not sit idle.
South Korea won't sit idle over this, and we will take necessary measures step by step with the international community, depending on the progress of Russia-North Korea military cooperation.
According to South Korea, the first batch of the elite forces left for the Russian city of Vladivostok early October. In fact, they say that 3,000 North Koreans are currently training at military bases across the Far East, using Russian paperwork and Russian uniforms. Seoul says that thousands more are to follow. Not just that, the South Korean spy agency claims that each North Korean soldier recruited by Russia will be paid $2,000 a month. That's more than the average North Korean makes in a year, by the way. They claim that Russia is hiring interpreters to train the new recruits on drone warfare and high-tech kits. The South Korean Defense Minister, Kim Yong-hyun, described these soldiers as cannon fodder mercenaries for Russia. He said, and I'm quoting now, Kim Jong-un simply sold his soldiers. That's a big statement. What will the soldiers do is the immediate question. According to news agency AFP, North Korean special forces are trained to be deployed deep into enemy territory. Lim Il-chul, a professor at Seoul's Institute for Far Eastern Studies, told AFP that their objective usually is to infiltrate the rare strike key facilities and carry out disruption operations. Ukrainian media reports saying that some troops will be dispatched to Kursk region. Remember, this is the Russian region which was hit by a surprise offensive by Ukraine this summer. And Seoul believes that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has sent his soldiers to act as a frontline cannon fodder. And it is legal because Kursk is Russian territory. So basically, Kim Jong-un can defend his move by saying that, well, his troops are assisting Russia in repelling Ukrainian quote-unquote aggression. And observers are not surprised. They say that this move follows what is called the letter of their treaty. It was signed by Kim Jong-un and the Russian President Vladimir Putin in June. And on Thursday, it was approved by Moscow's legislature, which then brings us to the question of why does Russia want North Korean troops in the first place? According to South Korean experts, Russia suffers from personnel shortage on the front lines. The North Korean soldiers solve that issue. The question also is, will South Korea commit to Ukraine as a result of this? On Thursday, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has said that Seoul will review its stance on providing weapons to Ukraine in its war with Russia. During a joint press conference with the Polish president in Seoul, Yoon said, and I'm quoting now, while we have maintained a principle of not directly supplying lethal weapons, we may review this more flexibly depending on the actions of North Korean forces, quote unquote. South Korea has hinted that it could consider providing weapons directly to Ukraine. That would basically mean reversing a long-standing domestic policy that bars arms transfers into active conflict zones. A former national security official, Choi Gil, told AFP that now with the latest development, it's highly likely that this will happen. As far as Ukraine is concerned, what will it do? Ukraine has already released a propaganda video targeting North Korean soldiers, claiming that if they surrender, they will receive food, comfortable accommodation, and health care. Ukraine, in a Korean language statement on YouTube, said, and I'm quoting here, "Surrender. Ukraine will protect you and provide food and warmth. You don't have to die meaninglessly on the soil of another country," quote unquote. Now, here's where things get worrisome. The reports that thousands of North Korean soldiers may soon join Russia to fight in Ukraine are reviving the talk of sending European troops to Ukraine and help Ukraine defend itself. The Lithuanian foreign minister told American news outlet Politico that it is time for European countries to revisit the French President Emmanuel Macron's idea of deploying troops to Ukraine. Earlier this year itself, the French president had floated the idea only to be quickly shot down by the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who vowed that no European or NATO troops would be sent to Ukraine. But things have clearly shifted as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. If what the US and allies are saying is true, and if indeed North Korean soldiers are fighting Russia's war, the Ukraine conflict will get bigger. It would see the involvement of many other parties. What happens when NATO members send their troops to defend Ukraine? It would basically bring the US-led military bloc in direct conflict with Russia for the first time since Cold War. The US has already, in fact, warned Russia that any troops deployed against Ukraine will be fair game. Will the US then expand the Ukraine war is the question, from Ukraine to the world? We will have to wait and watch for that answer. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.